Good morning, I'm Clemente from CryptoComo, and if you want to understand cryptocurrencies in a simple and practical way, follow me here. Today we have a very special subject, discovering your why, a conversation with Lisa Schermerhorn on finding career and life satisfaction. Today we are going to touch on a fundamental topic that is often overlooked, the why behind our financial and professional decisions. Why are we interested in cryptocurrencies? I have here my friend Lisa Schermerhorn, best-selling author, professional speaker, why coaching, and brain-based mindset coach. Welcome, Lisa.
Thank you so much for having me. This is so exciting. I love the fact that we can speak all over the world.
Yeah. It's amazing the things that we can do with this technology nowadays.
It is amazing. It is amazing. Especially how, we've met and become friends and it's all online virtual. It's incredible the way we can do business these days.
Yeah. I'm in Panama. You're in United States, so it's incredible. Yeah.
Yeah.
Lisa, let's discuss briefly why you started this why coaching and how did you get there? Could you do that for me, please?
Sure. So many years ago, I was trying to get my business started, and I went to see a woman who specialized in marketing and branding. And she asked me if I wanted to take a why test. And I said, or discovery. And I said, that sounds interesting. So when I took it, it was a game changer for me. And what I mean by that is that when I realized what my why was, I realized that it was a part of me that I didn't accept, like I was rejecting that part. So my why is that I is challenge. I challenge conventional thinking and think outside the box. So that makes me different. It makes me an outsider sometimes. And so that part of me, when I was growing up, I thought that I was broken. I thought there was something wrong with me. I never thought I fit in. I was bullied a lot. So I struggled with that part of me. But when I realized that that's my why, it helped me own completely who I am and accept myself. And then it helped me better in my branding and my business because instead of working with people, it helped me identify because people want to work with people who are like them because they can understand each other. They understand their language. So, as a challenge, I like to work with entrepreneurs, people who are cutting edge, visionary type people. So, they understand this because it's different. And that's why I was so attracted to it. And then, so to give a little history, so that's my why. Then you have a how and a what. We call it the why operating system. And my how is better way. So I help people find a better way and share it. And then ultimately, what I bring, my what is, I help people make sense out of complicated situations and problems. So I am an out of the box problem solver. And I thought I'd never been able to put it into such a brief, powerful sentence before. So the for people who might be interested to know where this came from, I don't know if you're aware of Simon Sinek. He did
Yep.
he did a TED talk, and he talks about his book is Start with Why. And he talks about the importance of knowing your why. A fellow named Gary Sanchez saw him speak and said, I need to know my why. Please tell me my why. And Simon said, I don't help people discover their why. I tell them why their why is important. And Gary was a dentist and he really didn't, he was very unhappy and he wanted to find out why people do what they do.
Hmm.
And he interviewed thousands of people over 10 years and came up with these 9 whys. And so we did your why. And so Clemente's why is contribute. Now, I will tell you that his why is perfect for what he does in crypto because he's also a visionary. So we have the why of contribute, and these are the people who want to be of service to others. They live for helping others. This is something from the heart, and that if they aren't helping people, they're not happy, right?
Yeah,
And
right.
then his how is trust. Now, these are people who you can do business on a handshake. They are the trusted source in everything, and they will research and do everything they can to make sure that you trust them. So, again, in business, someone who's a trust is an amazing person to work with. And your and your what is better way, which is the visionary, the someone who's looking for a better way of doing things. So I'm curious, when we did that, your why discovery, how that impacted you and if it made sense to you.
Yeah, of course. It made a lot of sense to me, and I feel like exposed. Yeah. It was amazing. I really like the white test that you did to me. It's very useful because now I have a better marketing message. I understand how to fit in, how to be part of the community, and how to contribute, knowing my why. And I also have 8 more whys that you sent to me in a document that it was really amazing. And I read almost every day to know where to put my time, because one of my challenges is saying no, because I all the time I'm busy, and someone, a friend, my family, my kids call me, and I go without saying no. So it's a challenge, and I print the challenge. I put on the wall, and now I read it all the time to see and say no when it's needed. So it's really a great tool for business and for personal life.
Yeah. Thank you for bringing that up, because especially with challenge people, when they work for an organization, they want to be of service. And so when someone needs help, they're the first to volunteer. But what if they're not the best person for that position, or to help out in that? What if there's someone else who has a better expertise in that
Hmm.
area? So it gives the contribute people tools to be able to say no, and to know when it's the best time for them and when it's not. And it also brings up to light what that is, what that challenge is for you. So it brings it to your awareness. Like, as I mentioned, my challenge, feeling like an outsider, not feeling like I fit in. And then I realized, but I love being different. I wouldn't have it on any other way. So, challenge and better way people are visionaries. They see outside the box, they see things before other people do. And that can be a challenge, because as someone who has better way and challenge in my why, I can see things sometimes 10 and 20 years before other people do. I'll see these cutting edge things that come up and people don't understand, and there's a frustration in waiting for people to catch up. And that can be very frustrating. So that once I knew that about me, it wasn't that there was something wrong with me. It's just that this is who I am, that I see things, and I help people see things in them that they don't normally see. And so once it's brought up to the surface, it helps people heal that.
The challenge for me, for my main why, is a tendency to overcommit, because I want to contribute and make a difference everywhere. So my inclination is to continuously say yes to request after request. So that's the challenge. And the very good, the awesome part of this test is that it also brings the solution. The key to overcome the challenge is for me to identify and recognize where I make a greatest possible contribution. So I need to focus on that, and that's the solution that you provide in the report. So it's really
Right.
great.
And what's also really interesting is, well, there's a couple of ways to use the why, because the way that the discovery gives it to you is you get your top ones, but it gives you the order of all 9 and the one that's the least important to you. And what we find is that the one that's the least important to you is generally the same why that you get challenged with someone else. For instance, as a challenge, I'm outside the box. I think outside the box. Now, one of the whys is right way. And right way are people who create structure. They love rules. They're inside the box and they want to create a repeatable system.
Hmm.
So, someone who's like a baker, they have to have a system in place that's exact all the time. Otherwise, they're out of business.
Yeah.
So you need people who do that. But if you have a challenge person who's running a business that comes up with this cutting edge cookie that
Hmm.
no one else has had before, and you've got someone who's baking for you who's created a system, can you see how that can butt heads? They can butt heads because you've got out of the box and inside the box.
Yeah.
And the right way people can be very structured, and they have trouble because sometimes they can be very inflexible. And so
Mhm.
that's their challenge, is to be open to new ways to doing things. Now, when you have a company, especially when you start a company and you're looking to bring people in, you don't want people who have the same why as you do. You want an assortment, because if you have a bunch of people who are challenged in better way as an entrepreneur, you're going to get yourself into trouble, because you can get together and come up with a lot of ideas, but unless you have people set up in your company to create structure, for instance, simplify people. They take lots of information and break it down to just a couple of bullet points. And so you need those people to create structure, or right way people to get things done, to do the detail work that the visionaries don't want to do or don't necessarily know how to do. And so having an assortment of them is very important, especially in sales. It was interesting. One of the clients that I worked with, I did their team, and they had their head of sales as what we call mastery. A mastery person does a deep dive and researches everything. So you can't ask someone who's mastery to answer you in 10 minutes, because they want to make sure that they have as much information as possible. So if you have an emergency in sales, let's say equipment sales, and something goes wrong, the company was struggling because this person wasn't getting back with answers right away,
Yeah.
because he didn't know how to do that. He wanted to come back with full answers, and sometimes he was waiting a week to reply, and it was creating major problems in sales. So you have to know who you have in the right places to make sure that they have the right skill set to be
Mhm.
the most efficient for your business.
And what practical strategies or techniques can we use to understand or and use this why concept?
Well, you can use this for your own personal life. And when you learn all the whys, you start to see it in other people. For instance, you have trust in your why. If I see that in someone else, I don't want to do something to accidentally betray your trust. Because with a trust person, they don't give second chances, right? They're very trusting, and they will do bend over backwards for you. But once they can't trust you, it's very hard to get them back.
Yeah.
So when you know that about people you work with, or partners, when you're in a marriage or relationship, or to get better know your children, what was really funny is that my daughter is trust, and I have challenge. Trust and challenge can often have difficulties, because trust people need to have consistency, right? And as a challenge, I'm always doing things that don't make sense to her. Because I just like to be different. And so I will throw her off. And so now I know the language to use with her, so she's more comfortable with me. And she knows that I'm not doing this to just mess with her, that I'm really just being me. Yep.
So,
Go ahead.
so it's important to understand the why, because you can get better relations, personal relationships with co-workers or employees or whatever.
No, exactly. And I have a client who has been very unhappy for 20 years in her career. So when we did her why, she discovered that she's challenge. And challenge people need to be creative. They need to be really kind of left alone in their creativity. They're great in sales, and they can't be micromanaged.
Hmm.
She was in a right way job where she was micromanaged, sitting at a desk, having to do things repetitively. And so she thought there was something wrong with her, because she kept getting bad reviews, but she was afraid to leave her career because she'd been in it for so long. What she realized, that she wanted to be in training. She wanted to be able to train people in human resources. So once she realized that she was in the wrong career for her why, she was able to take steps to go into a different career that allowed her the flexibility and freedom and creativity, so that she could enjoy herself. Because there's nothing worse than going to a position every day and being miserable.
Yeah.
And so this was a huge epiphany for her.
Yeah.
And it helped her really step into who she is.
And maybe that's the case for many people that go to a position, to a job, and they don't like it, and maybe because they don't know their why.
Exactly. I actually spoke to someone who works with people and helps put them in positions, a headhunter type of position. And what he said is the biggest advice he gives to people is, especially when kids are coming out of college and they have a lot of debt. And so they're desperate to just find the first job they can find. And then what happens is they get trapped because now they're stuck in a career that may not be what's in their highest and best. So when you know your why, not only are you have a better idea of what type of career to follow, but then you're also within a company, they know who to promote into what position. Because if you have someone who is really, really good in one position, when you want to promote them, you don't want to promote them out of their why because you'll lose them. So now you're taking someone who's really valuable and now you're promoting them into a position they don't want to be in, and they will leave. So for human resources, this is a really great tool to use. So, and what I do is I will do teams and companies and put a matrix together of everyone's why so that people know who's best for what position, what type of projects, and things like that.
In a simple way, can you explain how the why discovery process works and what make it unique compared to other self-discovery tools?
Well, yeah, thank you for asking that. So there are a lot of really great tools out there. There's the Myers-Briggs, Colby, DISC. Those tell people how they do things.
Mm-hmm.
Right? Not why. And the interesting thing about the why that I love, it's as someone who's worked with the unconscious mind and these cutting edge brain hacking techniques, I understand how the brain works. And what motivates people is coming from the emotional part of the brain, the limbic brain. That's the part that makes all the decisions. It's why when you go to buy a car and the salesperson puts you in the beautiful red Porsche convertible and suddenly you're coming home with that instead of a minivan.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly.
So it's the emotional part, or you walk by the store and see this beautiful sweater that's way more than you want to spend, but it's a connection. There's an emotional connection that drives people to buy. That's your why. So when you use your why in your branding, when you speak from that place, other people want to hear what you have to say and they want to buy from you. So when you use your why, not only in your everyday life and who you are, but when you use it in your branding and explaining who you are. If you listen to someone, for instance, if you're going to buy a computer, you've got Apple computer and then you have IBM. The Apple gave people a why, it was this compelling thing of what is this? We don't know what this is,
Mm-hmm.
something unique and different. And it drew people in versus we're here to do word processing and emails. So it's that emotional attachment that is so driving in the why and why it's so important in business.
In some way, you already described this, but in your experience, how does understanding one's why transform the approach to career and life decisions?
Yeah, so if you're in a career or you're doing something and you're not happy and you suddenly discover what your why is, it kind of gives you direction. And when that light bulb goes off and inside of you and says, "Oh my gosh, you're right. I didn't realize this about myself." Or there are some people who will be like, "I kind of knew that about myself, but thank you for bringing it up." For instance, Better Way. Better Way people, the entrepreneurs, the visionaries, they're always looking for something better. Now, their challenge is there's always something better. So how do I make a decision? Because there's always something going to be better. If I go buy a computer, as soon as I buy it, I know there's going to be a new one comes out in 2 weeks and I'm going to have buyer's remorse. And Better Way people also have difficulty ordering in restaurants because there's someone else is ordering something better than what I got. So understanding that about yourself and knowing it's good enough. And I have friends. A friend of mine is Better Way. He owns a company, and a fellow who works for him. They have a deal now because every time he brings a project to the owner will always improve upon it and make it better. So they have a deal that he only brings his project to him 75% complete so that he doesn't have to keep redoing it over and over again. So when you know that about yourself and each other, you can come up with a way so that you don't get feeling misunderstood. When I worked with a school, I worked with the administration, and everyone in the administration was contribute, and they had simplify and mastery and all of these beautiful whys, and all of them, their least understood why was challenge. And guess what? They had two teachers at the school who they were having major problems with. Their why was challenge. So out of the entire administration, there was not one person in that administration who understood how to communicate with those two teachers. And those teachers were very valued by the children and the parents. They loved these teachers. So you can understand how having an assortment of why and having an understanding of those whys would help your business, and in multiple ways.
And specifically, how do you think understanding one's why can specifically benefit professionals in the tech and cryptocurrency industries?
Well, in the tech and cryptocurrency industry, you've got people who are cutting edge, right? They are cutting edge. They're outside the box. So they want to use that kind of language because those are the people who you're going to attract. You're not going to be speaking to the average person, someone who's a right way, who's always been that, can't visualize. Most of us think that the world sees the world through the same way we do. We call it the map of the world. So I see the world a certain way, and so people in the crypto industry see the world in a certain way. It's important when you know your why, who you're talking to and how to talk to them. So for you, you are the trusted source. You are here because you want to be of service to others, and you do your research. You are like the perfect person for this crypto industry, because especially helping people who are new to the industry understand it as well. You have this way and this patience and ability to explain it at a deeper level. So that is where your heart is. So that's where you want to put your messaging in. So not only are you the expert for the experts, but you can also be the expert for the people who are new to explain that and get them into the industry as well. So in crypto, you want to discover what is your why, what is the aspect of are you a simplifier? Right? So someone who makes it simple. Is someone a mastery? Someone wants to go there to learn deep information. So you want to use that as how you explain the way you use crypto and how you use it in your business. Does that make sense?
Yeah, a lot of sense. Thank
Yeah.
you. Lisa, what are some common challenges people face when trying to discover their why? And how do you advise them to overcome these obstacles?
The biggest challenge when people find their why is when they, for instance, when they find out their why, there's the gift that we all have, like my ability to be different and think outside the box. And then I have that part of me that is challenge where I don't always feel like I fit in. So as a coach, what I love to do is I help people better understand that part of them that they've been struggling with. For instance, that contribute, helping them to be able to say no, and help them better understand that. Or a trust person. I was working with a CEO of a big company, and he had this one person who did some things, had some addiction issues and things, and he was just ready to fire this person. And he decided, after working with me, to give this person a second chance. Trust people create loyalty in a huge way. This person got help, got sober. Now they're number one salesperson, way above one employee of the year the next year. And that person is now an employee for life. So instead of cutting him off, which is what a trust person might do when they don't trust, when they allow to heal that part and understand that sometimes people make mistakes and need that second chance, then it can turn into a beautiful thing. So there's all different 9 whys. There's all the different challenges that we have. And as a coach, I love helping people better understand and heal that part so they can be whole and better understand themselves and others.
When I'm making these interviews, I always enjoy the interview very much, and the times goes fly. So we have left 1 minute. So give us a final thought on how to contact you. I'm going to show your website so people interested can see it and
Yes.
contact you.
Yeah, they can contact me through my website, and I send a discovery. It's a link from the Why Institute, and then it takes 10 minutes. Everyone has all 9 in them, and so it takes 10 minutes, and then we take an hour to really go through all of the 9 whys. So if you're interested in that, or the mindset coaching, if you're stuck, if you're struggling with something in your life, I can help people get through their issue quickly. And that's why I love the brain work that I do, this cutting edge work to get people back and successful and on track quickly.
If someone want to use your services but does not speak English, what they can do?
Yeah, if there's software that translates.
Yeah, they can use Google Translate, another software, yeah, and also AI to do that.
Yeah.
Let's try that.
Yeah, I
Awesome.
would love to figure that out because the why is an international language.
Yeah, yeah, exactly.
And I'd love to be able to share this with more people. And yeah, there's a lot out there that does through AI. I think it could work really well.
Well, thank you so much, Elisa. You want to share one final thought?
I'm just grateful to be part of this, and I really admire the people who have put themselves out of the box and finding a better way and challenging themselves to going into this crypto market. And I know there's a lot of challenges helping people, so I like to help people help others. So thank you.
Thank you, Lisa. Have a great week and a wonderful life. Thank you so much
Thank
for your
you.
time.
Thank you for having me.